I know Cayden didn't get a chance to skate a ton, but it was just nice to have him here. He's talked about how much he enjoyed seeing the city of Columbus, things like that, getting a chance to meet everybody. How valuable can that kind of stuff be, and even doing maybe some of the off-ice stuff too, and the bonding and things like that?
Yeah, it's something that we try to key in on development camp, is having these young prospects fall in love with the city the way some of us on the staff did. So it's even though he wasn't on the ice, it's still important to ingrain him in the city and meet some of the fans and see what this city's all about. And I think he got a great feel from it.
I wanted to ask about Brindley too. He's the only guy in this camp that had played some NHL minutes, so it kind of makes him a leader in some ways. Did you see him kind of embrace that? He talked about taking Cayden under his wing a little bit and talking to him. Was that a big thing that you wanted to see out of Gavin this week?
Yeah, for sure. You always find some leaders at a prospect tournament or a development camp, and Gavin is definitely one. He's obviously been around a winning culture in Michigan, and then went on to play an NHL game and then played the World Championships. So I'm sure that experience that he had over there, being around some great NHL stars and leaders, kind of embraces it when he gets back here with our prospects.
I wanted to ask you about just the value of having this development camp. Some teams are getting away from it. Some have it before the start of training camp. How do you feel about this? And do you think Don Waddell will have the same opinion as you do?
Yeah. It's probably, obviously I can't speak for Don and don't know where he stands exactly on it. I thought this year's development camp was great, that we were able to have it at Nationwide Arena and not have to worry about all the logistics of it, doing it at the chiller the last 2 years. I put value in it, me personally. I think it's great to get the draft picks in here right away that we drafted for, number one, to meet everyone. Number two, to start to get to know Columbus and the city and the arena and just how you get around, what the feel is. A lot of our draft picks have never really been to Columbus, Ohio, and I think that part's important. So hopefully we keep it around.
Do you like it with the smaller numbers this year?
Well, yeah. I mean, we always try to keep it right around the 30 number. So obviously sometimes that's going to be 34, 35, and just an odd year we were at 29 this year. So sometimes it's a bit hard right at the end with free agency, or I should say free agent invites, to figure it out with if a guy gets drafted or a guy doesn't.
Rick, some teams across the league are going away from the on-ice stuff entirely. Are you sort of constantly evaluating how you want to do this and thinking about it and rethinking how best to run a development camp?
Yeah, for sure. And I talked to a lot of the other development guys that are running other camps, and what they put value in, whether it's no on ice, whether it's hard on ice. I think right now I like some on ice stuff. I think it's important that these guys don't get out of the routine of not skating. They're all skating already anyways. Obviously there's some rare cases with Mem Cup guys. But for the most part, I like to say it's not an evaluation camp. It's a development camp. But it seems like people in the hockey world are always evaluating. Yeah. So we try to enforce that on the ice, that it's a development camp. We want to give them some tools that they can take back for the summer and use.
And do you give them specific tools for them to go back and use, or is there a broad message to all of the players when they leave?
Yeah, it's something that we've been working on for what's important for you to be a Blue Jacket, and I think those things kind of change when you get a new GM or a new coach in. So we're kind of in that transition stage right now. But our idea as a development team is to give them some keys on what's the best pathway to become a Blue Jacket. So that's something that I'll have to work out on with the new coach coming in, and obviously Don to figure those keys out.
The other development guys, are they Kings as well?
That is a great question for where's Todd? Todd's at the back. That's a question for Todd.
King's got a court.
Rick, is there anybody here that kind of reminds you of yourself when you were coming in, Columbus as a young kid?
Yeah, it's tough to obviously key it on. I think Porty asked me the other day about Cayden and hearing some resemblance there. Obviously, he's a big power forward, with a set of hands and can skate. But just to answer your question, that's kind of the only one that I've heard just through you guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what would you tell him, as far as approach, coming back? There's some question of whether he's going to go back, whether he's going to stay here. Do you want him to just kind of come in here and try and kick the door down, basically?
Yeah, I believe that's got to be everyone's mindset who's coming to an NHL training camp. If you come with the mindset that you'll be back in junior or back in the minors in a few weeks, then you're probably never going to reach your full potential. So I would hope that his mindset would be to come in and make the team for sure, which I hope is however many guys we have, I hope that's their mindset coming into camp.
You've made it pretty clear that it's not an evaluation camp by any means, but from day one until today, what do you think of the on-ice stuff and the off-ice stuff in terms of how the group came together?
Yeah, I thought it was great. The practices were high paced. I thought Derek Dorsett and Tommy Cross and Jarkko Ruutu did a great job on the ice with the drills and making sure we work specifics with the D and with the forwards. So overall, I thought it was great. I thought the off ice stuff, the guys had a lot of fun with going to the police academy and we did some educational stuff with a guest speaker and the Clippers game yesterday. So I thought it was a great camp, and the feedback I got from the players that they had a good time and learned a lot. So that's all you can ask for from these.
How'd the police academy thing come up? Because every player I've asked said that's been his favorite part of the week.
Yeah, so it's tough. It kind of works in 3-year cycles, and you try to look for different ideas, and whether it's cooking classes or grocery shopping, all these different things. And I just had a friend in the police department, and I set up with the coaches earlier on to do some team building, and then we thought it could be something good for the prospects.
When we talked to Don in Las Vegas, we obviously four big defensemen, but he was quick to point out these are guys who can skate as well as being big. Did you see that out there? I mean, can you see something like that out there when they're just kind of skating around a little bit, just how they move?
Yeah, for sure, and that it definitely sticks out when you watch the Lee Harris sessions when they start doing their edge work. And I thought Charlie did a great job, and you saw him kind of break in today and score a goal. And same with Luke. Luke has a heavy shot, but he can skate too, and he's huge. So it was obviously Don's comments were bang on.
Yeah, that's impressive. Like when they're that tall. I mean, a lot of times the bigger guys can kind of struggle skating a little bit, right?
Well, especially at this age too, where they're just kind of growing into their bodies or feeling comfortable in their bodies, or just had a huge growth spurt a year ago. So yeah, so it is different, but nowadays these kids have been having skating coaches since they were young, and it seems like everyone in the NHL can skate and has great edge work and great balance.
When did you get your first skating coach? How old were you?
I still never hired one.
You're just a natural.
At the end of my career, I hired Lee Harris. That was my first and only. Yeah, funny. Good question.